Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Oh, Bill, if you could just listen to the man in you and put the insect aside.
Insecticide? Where?
Morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is week 2 on the Firefly build. Over the weekend, I flocked the head and the left hand of our unfortunate victim here, and they were all very burgundy and very reddish, and not at all the correct color. This morning, I have put the first base coat of brown on the head and on the hand, and we're going to get a closer idea of the eventual color of them. I also did something to avoid controversy. I don't know if controversy is the right word. A lot of comments over the weekend about tying this into Malcolm Reynolds and the Firefly universe and going down that road, which really wasn't my intention at all. I made an offhand remark last week about naming our hero Malcolm and having him played by Nathan Fillion in the movie, but I'm trying to stay away from that universe not as much as possible. It's not that I have anything against it, it's just not where I was going with it. So to further distance from that, I've decided to go and repaint the coat from the brown coat, which it was, to more of a light blue lab coat, because I'm more actually in the realm of Jonas Venture and Venture Brothers than I am into the area of Firefly series. That's kind of of where I wanted to go with it, so that's why I repainted some of that to further it away from that. It would be in the, and plus the one thing standing in the way of this being doing a Malcolm Reynolds crossover are the shoes. Had he been given boots, it might have been a different story, but these shiny shoes are 100% Mad Scientist shoes, and that's the area I wanted to tap into. So that is why you see what it's going to turn out is not going to be in the Firefly universe. So sorry about that. Maybe in the future there'll be a Firefly build or a Firefly universe build in the books, but for right now, this is not that. It's actually a very good, I think it's a Wyatt Earp model out there that might be a good mash build, good scratch build if you wanted to do that. But that's not what this is, not what I'm shooting for here. So I've started painting on the chrome accents to the console, and I'm waiting for a few of these things to dry before I start reassembling. And that's where we're at this particular moment. We need a big cleanup here on the table because it's getting quite messy. Alrighty, work is continuing on the Firefly. You can see I've got the lab coat whited. It's still a subtle difference between this t-shirt, or his dress shirt, and the coat. So we're working on making that a little bit more distinct. I've been painting on his head, and most notably I've put I've glittered one of his eyes. Now take a look at that. That's just from me taking some microcrystal clear, painting it over the wooden ball, and then tapping some glitter on top of it to let it stick. Sort of like the same principle that you do for the flocking, only you're not using that really noxious enamel paint. And we're gonna, of course, let this dry at least a day before I tap the excess off of it. But I've got all of the areas covered that I want to have the glitter stick to. Careful not to get in any on the antenna. Now, I've been painting on this today with various browns to bring out the hair color. And of course the feelers, or the antennae, are furry, but they are black. So now that I've got that covered up, let's Just turn this upside down here, and we're going to end up wasting some of this, but this is how it goes. Just tapping it on. Switch hand position here. And I've got more in that little envelope, so I'm not worried about running out. This was what I cleaned up off of the table from the first eye. Let's see, we've got more here. It's not a precise science. There, okay. We're going to let that sit. And luckily the flocking is good and dry over the weekend so that I can actually brush some of that off and not worry about removing any of the flocking. But there's your bug eyes. Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday and work is continuing. We're back to the Firefly, and yesterday, you recall, I put the purplies on the eyes, and today they have dried in and look marvelous. I went in with some of the color shifting paint and did a little work around his mouth. I'm going to do a little bit of bone color, I'm thinking, on the pinchers, and then the head will be done. Big work today was, I repainted in his shirt to make it stand out from the jacket a little bit more. I think I'm going to go through that with a wash and maybe put something in the creases there to make it look a little more dimensional. Got his tie repainted as well. And let's see, there's the claw. I need to touch up the color of those spikes on the claw, and then that part will be done. Most of what I spent this morning so far on has been the console, painting in some details on these gauges and cutting the googly eye crystals off the front so that I can put those over top. Once I'm happy with how all of this looks, and I think I might want to put a black wash in there just to bring out the hash marks of the gauges. Once that happens, I can take some crystal clear and glue the lenses over top of those, and then they'll be done. Painting in some details around the switches and knobs here. Got the spider ready to go. I've decided to use the spider. I'm going to chop down some of this button switch here and actually make the spider be the switch. So you actually have to touch the spider to make the switch move. And then we're getting down to the end of it. I start playing with this guy's got to have a story. I've been playing with this guy this morning. Even much more interesting than the fly would be hairy hamster hands, because somewhere there's a dude walking around with a perfectly decent 6 foot tall white guy, but he's got tiny little hamster hands. So how does he get dressed in the morning? But hairy hamster hands has got to be a movie in and of himself. So I've been playing with that in the books and some of the paraphernalia that goes on the base. Just because I'm getting ready to pop all this stuff together. Once the base is done, I can glue it down, and then I can wire in the rest of the fly. We're running around the track pretty quickly on this. This will be done before we know it. The cabinet is outside, having been sprayed with a coat of flat to bring it all together. I'm going to do some weathering on that after it's been had a chance to dry. But I think now is the time to go ahead and put these lenses in over top of these gauges. Now, I spent a lot of time making those nice and clean, and then ended up not liking them nice and clean. So I weathered them down a little bit, put some grunge inside there. Simplest thing to do would be to take a toothpick and some microcrystal clear and basically just dab a couple of spots, because these are nice nice tight fits as far as the googly eyes go. They are a good, nice, good fit, so I don't have to do anything more than just put a little spot of glue to hold them in place. I don't have to worry about filling any gaps or anything. So we've got this, and basically we're just gonna, oh, now look what I did. Look what I did. Got a big old goofy fingerprint on the inside. Gotta watch that. That'll dry, and it'll dry clear, but it won't dry clean. Oh, I'm making a mess. Ah! Okay. Luckily, I've got a whole drawer full of googly eyes, so I'm just going to clean another one off. Cut another one off of the said base, so I don't have to worry about trying to make that one too clean. Come on. There you go. Give me my drawer full of googly eyes. I just need to find another one that's the right size. Oh, and they're getting kind of sparse. I am not going down to the store to get more googly eyes. If I cannot find one, I'll clean that one off. But I can't have just only one left of that correct size. Here's one I'd already cut off before, so I will use it. And I think this time I'm going to put the glue on the part and not on the googly eye. So we're just going to spot here at 12, 9, 6, and 3. Just a little dot. Come on. It's gotten hot in the last few days, and that means I am running the ceiling fan. And unfortunately, that means the paint is drying and the glue is drying a little quicker than I like it to do. Okay. But it's either that or else die in the sweltering heat. Okay, now let's try that. There we go. I have one bog standard googly eye cover, and we'll let the microcrystal clear dry inside of that. I'll do the other 3 and we'll come back. Okay, and hopefully you can see by the glare that the gauges now all have googly eye lenses in them. And now the next thing to do would be to go in and work some on this shirt, because it is awfully flat now. I like the ivoryness of it. I like that it's a different color from the lab coat, but we need to do something, and I don't know whether I need to do a highlight pass on that or a shadow pass on that. I think a shadow pass might end up darkening the whole thing too much. Let's do a white pass over top of that. Okay, I think for my last act of today, I'm going to go ahead and finally glue down the box to the floor, and that'll get us on our way to getting the wiring done, and frankly the rest of the kit shouldn't take all that much longer. But we need to start putting some definite steps together. So let me just clean up a little bit here, and then we can finish that up. I'm thinking I might want to just I guess take a little bit of epoxy and smear it around the bottom there and set it down. I think that might be easier than trying to use CA or anything like that. I don't know, I'm not liking this. These colors are very similar. I'm not liking that. I wish there was, see here you have the silver band between the wall and the floor color. You don't have that here. That's an uncomfortable similarity in color. Wonder if there's anything that can be done about that. Well, I know by the time I put the rest of the stuff on here that's supposed to go, that won't be that noticeable. But I don't know, maybe the books are going to go here, and there, and there. And Rat Boy is going to go here, hanging off of the base a little bit. But by the time we put the spider on there, I just wish there was something I could do that, I don't know, I gotta find something. I'll have to stew on that tonight, and we'll see what we can come up with in the morning. But let's go ahead and get the cabinet glued down. Morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. It is the shank of the week. It's right there, dead center, and working on some tiny little details. And of course, those aren't the big showy things. They take a lot of time. They don't, I mean, they look good in the end, but you spend a lot of time and you're wondering, why am I spending all this time on this? But like I say, it pays off later. So yesterday I glued or epoxied the base down to the floor, so it's good to go. And I've got the wire fished out through the shoe and back up. And I'm really to the point where I'll go ahead and take this off one last time, but I'm getting ready to start gluing some stuff down, and one of the things I need to glue down is this foot, and I need to make sure I'm happy with how he's, which way he's facing and all that. But the foot doesn't look very good by itself. I mean, it looks a bit like he's doing the disco dance. So I am putting one of the books that come with the kit. I'm throwing the book at it. One of the books that come with the kit, I'm gonna put under his heel, so it kind of does two things. It looks like he's stepping on that, which kind of gives him some weight on the floor, but also hides the wire that's coming up through his heel. If you look carefully, you'll see, well, not so carefully, that's why I need to cover it up, but you'll see there's a wire coming up under his heel. So if I can put the book under it, then I can disguise that. So I'm going to spin this around, and it's going to hang off of the base. I like doing this bit where things kind of fall off of the base. They're not all contained. It gives it a little bit more dynamic life when it's not, everything isn't sitting within the confines of the base. So having that foot, or having that book kind of stick out here like that at an angle is kind of fun, and it gives me some latitude at hiding the wire. I'm also going to be doing that with Harry the Hamster Hands here, because I've been working on him this morning, painting him up, and he's going to be hanging off of the base at the front. So we're going to go ahead and take care of this. Then I can put the pants on put the bottom of the body on the base there, get that nice and epoxied down, such that I can start working with the wiring and getting everything lit up. We're still a couple of stages away from gluing the top down, the torso down to the belt line. I've been working with the spider, which will, let me go ahead and take some of this stuff off, the spider which will sit on the switch. This is the switch that makes everything light up. I'm going to put the spider on the switch. I have nibbled that down, and basically going to glue that on in such a way that you have to slide the spider back and forth. That's going to help cover that switch. And then I've got what was the most tedious part of this morning's work was working on the tiny guy here. Now he's got his human head and human left arm, but he's also got the human butt. He's got the human butt because the joke of this is, and this is the butt of the joke, the joke is that he's also got a firefly tail, so you have to remove it from the firefly itself. So that's going to get glued on here, and making these dark things stand out from the base. I had the spider real dark, almost black, and then I realized it wasn't standing, visually it wasn't standing out from this grill. So now I'm wondering if I should go back in with a dry brush on some silver and kind of lighten up that grill so that it gives it more of a contrast and you can see the elements that are glued to it. I might just want to just in a couple of spots so that you can, like I say, so you can see the contrasting insects against it. But that's where we're at. The micro crystal clear, of course, dried crystal clear, and all of our gauges look really nice. And that's it. We're coming up on final construction. I did do a white pass on this yesterday. I might do another white pass on this. Some reason it's just soaking all in. Let me pull the head off, which is not glued down yet and won't be until we're much closer to being finished. And remove the hand. But this is weird. I've been painting white over this light blue, but depending on how you look at it in the light, there's a green cast to it that really I did not put it there. I don't know how it's showing up, but I did not put it there intentionally. I still might want to go on one more white pass over that just to make it look more like a white lab coat. Okay, I got some fixing to do. I've got everything kind of laid out and stuck down, well, semi-stuck down, and I'm not liking the final pose here, because he is, if you put him exactly how everything would fit, he is leaning way forward. And it doesn't look like a fun pose to be stuck in. And it doesn't show him off to his best example. It looks kind of like doing, the Jackie Gleason and Away We Go pose. I kind of want to bring him up, something like that. But to do that, that means I've got to put something under that left foot. Something substantial, like a cinder block or something in scale, something along the height of that, and I'm not wild about that. Once I have the head on and the hand on, it kind of throws his whole posture wonky, and you get a better idea of what he looks like than you do with just the body. So now I'm kind of backing up and punting about what to do about raising him up. It's all in the bend on these feet. I mean, the bend of his knees. It's that pose. I mean, when he's on this side of the box and the box is over there, maybe it flows better. But for right now, it's just not giving me anything close to what I want. So I'm going to have to, I can't go back in and like straighten his leg out or anything. We're way beyond that point. But I have got to do something to bring this way up. I think the problem was that I was standing over this kit for so long that I wasn't looking at it from head on. And that's when I really noticed his stance was off. So I'm happy with how he is now. I just have to find a rationalization of why this foot is up so high and what I can build that looks natural for that foot to be resting on. Maybe if I made like the last step of a landing, like that's a stair step that's been cut off, a step down into the lab or something. I just have to find a reason why his foot is up so high off of the ground. But overall, I like the pose at that angle. I just have to, like I said, I have to fix that. But I think that's the last of the hurdles I need to overcome. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. It's the gateway to the weekend, and I have to confess that amidst all of the hoo-ha and falderall yesterday, I finally got a stance that I'm happy with. I've got this was the step that I made. I made it to look like it's the bottom rung of a set of stairs, but I finally brought him up to the level that is going to get his position the way I want it. So that's settled. I also got this bit glued on the top of this. I know it's not supposed to go there, but I like it that way, so that's why I did it. I am ready at this point to finish pretty much the construction. The next big thing to do is to glue this bit on the waist there and pop it in place. Make sure everything is in camera. Yeah, we're in camera. I had put yet another coating of white on this yesterday. I don't know why the white Tamiya is flat white is just sucking in there and glancing right off. It's not giving me the white. I'm shaking it. I'm stirring it. I've got it. You know, it's not like I haven't painted with white paint before, but for some reason it's just soaking in and not laying on top like it's supposed to. So another coat of white on the white coat, and I think I'm finally to a place where I'm happy with it. It's still, it's the underneath colors are still bleeding up through, but we're to the point of diminishing returns now. So the next step is to, and I think before I glue that on permanently, I want to make sure that I'm happy with everything else that might interact with, and I might want to go ahead and paint that belt, the belt buckle, before I do anything else. There's a bit of touch up under his heel there. I need to paint up. I'm going to paint up this styrene tube, make it look like maybe a rolled up set of blueprints or paper or something to make it look like it belongs there. And then we're going to be ready to do some final construction on him, and then it's just going to be a question of finishing up the set dressings today and tomorrow, and we'll wrap this up tomorrow. But the base is kind of done. The spider is sitting over the switch. Hit the switch with the spider and you get the tail blinking like that, and we slide it back and that turns it off. The dragonfly, or the fly slash firefly, is glued down. Yeah, so I'm thinking the next thing we need to do is put a liberal amount of glue on here and push these two parts together. But let me hit that belt buckle first. All right, the belt buckle is painted and the last leg of construction has begun. A little bit of epoxy in his waist and push that down real good, and we're gonna let that epoxy set. It's the real quick stuff, but we're gonna let it set for a bit. I've got a couple errands I need to run this morning, and then we'll come back and finish the construction. Alright, the final construction is well underway. We've only got a couple of pieces left to do. And we still have some what I'm calling set dressing stuff, but the important stuff is getting the head and the hand on here. Actually, the fly, or the firefly-y parts of this. So I'm going to go ahead and stick the head on now. I want to paint up. Still not quite happy with how the palm of that hand looks, or the claw looks, but I am happy with this. So we're going to go ahead and get that glued in, and not only will that get it up and out of danger, but also I won't have to keep bumping into it and worrying about knocking anything off of it. It's a very tight part, is a very tight fit. But the nice thing about this MEK is it also, before it sticks, it acts like a lubricant and makes it really easy to fit. There you go. Boom. Okay, the head is on now. Last bit is the hand. And then we start working with all the schmutz, all the stuff that goes around them. So let's, mostly happy with it. I just want to make the colors in a little bit more subtle. So we'll start with, I guess a deep brown on the inside of the claw, and work our way out from there. Okay, we've got the last bit of construction to do, and that is to put the claw in. Now I've gone in and touched up the inside of the claw, gave it a little bit of the insect color shifty, which balances the purple out in his. Brings out the purple in his eyes. But we're just going to do this last bit, and then we'll be down to the fine detail work. There we go. Like I said, using the 10X really, or the MEK, really loosens up that joint, makes it easy to slide it in there, because those were tough joints without it. Okay, so that is him in a nutshell, and all that's left to do is to touch up the base, add some schmutz to it. I'm going to do something with the book. I'm going to do something with the nameplate. I'm going to do something with Hamster Hands Harry here. I don't know if I'm going to use the axe for anything. I have to see if it's appropriate to either lay it on the floor or do something else with it. We'll see what kind of set dressing it might need. Morning, everybody. It's Friday. It's the last work day of the week, last work day on the Firefly, and I am just doing some last minute schmutzing. That's what I'm calling it, schmutzing. I am adding some incidental stuff, and I found some. What every good mad scientist needs in their lab is a bunch of blueprints. So I basically went out, downloaded some images of blueprints. I'm making this little trash can slash bucket to hold all of these blueprints, because this area right here was needing something, and I just took one of these little shot glasses and I'm doing it up a little bit, and I just need to put some paint on it now, see how bad it's going to look eventually. But also I wanted to add some actual pages to the book, something so it I couldn't hand paint anything that would look like actual print, so I just went out, and this would normally be done with decals, I'm sure, but since we don't have any decals like that, I just went out and found some images that I could print and use here, and I'm tearing out some pages and throwing them around because I thought the floor looked a little too clean, and Hamster Hands Harry here is maybe tearing out some of the pages of the book to make some bedding. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So what I need to do now is throw some primer on this and see how it's going to look. Okay, so I'm painting the garbage can slash blueprint holder, catch-all, umbrella stand, whatever you want to call it. And I'm thinking to myself, what color do I want to make it? And the thing that screams out first is any color but brown. Any color but reddish brown is good. So I picked something that I don't use very often, which is the cement gray. And I've just gone with a base coat over top of everything. I'm letting that dry, and I may take a wash or two to it to beat it up a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to put any rust on it or anything. It doesn't need to be that torn up, but just something that makes it look like it's been used a bit. And that'll go behind his leg, and I fill it up, and that also gives me a good place to put the axe, because there's not really a good spot for it. It's not like it fits in his hands very well. So I've also come up with a new little name plaque. That's going to go right there. And Hamster Hands Harry is going to be holding it up. Something like that. And then we'll just nail down the sheets of paper and the can, and we'll be ready to button this one up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that it's lacking. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Got the spider on the switch. Slide the spider, makes his butt light up. Now, sadly, I'm to the point now where I'm watching this and I'm going, well, is it still a joke anymore? I mean, it's a pretty nice build. I don't want to cut any corners with the build itself, but does it still qualify as a humor category? Because it's turned into a fairly serious representation of a guy with a light on his butt. So I think I will still put it in the humor category, but... And he said "but" again. In the humor category. However, it is more in the concept of it than in the execution of it. Okay, so I've got the can done. It's going to end up getting glued down right up against there. So we'll go ahead and put some CA on the bottom of that. And we will... see, just find the ugliest face of that, so make sure that that's inside against the wall. And again, it hangs over the base just like some of the other props. Okay, we're going to let that sit, and then we next just need to populate it with these blueprints. The discerning people amongst you might notice this one. I'll go ahead and show it off. It's for your basic proton pack. I'm wondering if I need to do something to the insides of these sheets so they're not quite so white. I'll just have to see. I'll have to maybe make that a little bit more interesting by doing something like that. And then this tall one goes up towards the back. I've got some different sizes. This one is, shut up you. This one here's the right flyer. Maybe I need to paint the inside of those with a wash. And yeah, I think I'm going to try that. If it doesn't work, I'll just print out another copy of them. I have to say that dirtying the back side of that paper was exactly what it needed. I just took a little quickie wash of the sepia brown shade. This is a game wash, and a little bit of the color that I used on the can itself. Diluted it down really well with a big brush, and not only did that take it gave me a color back here, but it also took some of the stiffness out of the roll, so the paper crinkles much more convincingly now. So my only question now is whether I should glue those down or just kind of leave them be. I kind of like them as they are, but if I were to pour some maybe wood glue in the bottom of that bucket and then stick them down, since those are paper products, they should stick pretty easily in there. And then all I would need to do would be to make room for the hatchet to kind of fit down in something like that. Yeah, something like that. Okay, I'm going to go get some of the big bucket of wood glue that I use, and I'll just line the bottom of that and sink everything down into it. We're dangerously close to being done. I'm almost ready to call it. I just need to see if there are any tiny details left that I need to address. And here is my finished Firefly. Now I've got him on a nice little turntable so I can spin him around and you can see him in all his glory. But there's his glowing bottom. And the bin of blueprints and the handy axe in case you need it. And the back of the console. Side of the console. And we're coming back around to the front. In the front you can see Hamster Ham's Harry and the spider, which acts as the switch for the console, for the light. If I can get there's the spider and the hapless victim and the bug face, the hand, the scratch built bug face, and of course the glowing tail. And that's where we're going to leave it. That's my Firefly build. I guess he'll never get lost in the fog. But hope you enjoyed it. If you come into Wonderfest, this will be in the contest in the humor section, I hope. And that's really all there is to say about that. So join us next week. I'll be building something, maybe something a little bit more customary, shall we say. A little bit more, a little bit less off the beaten path. So until then, y'all be good, be safe, be smart, take it easy, take care. Be back here next week.